Well, good afternoon, everyone. If you're watching this later, of course, we're just waiting for people to join in. So that's why I always lag a little bit as I'm starting these, in case you wonder. So we'll just wait for a few minutes as people join in, and they join in fairly quickly. Already have 3 members watching so far. Welcome. Okay. Hello, everyone, as you come in. Hope everyone is doing well today. The sun has come out a little bit, at least where I am, here in Westchester. It's looking nice, or nicer than it was this morning. It was rather dark this morning, even when I got up. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone. It's 4:00 today. Here on, is this Monday? I think. Yeah, it's Monday. Hope everyone is doing well. Yet another day of sitting indoors and kind of isolated. Oops, had a little bit of a glitch there. Hopefully everyone's still there. If that happens, I'll wait it out and try to resume. Hopefully we don't get knocked off completely. But if that happens, we'll just try again, kind of check back at the Facebook page, and I'll see what I can do. No worries. All right, so here we are again. So just some news items, I guess. I did see a letter just a little while ago regarding Archbishop Pilarczyk's funeral arrangements. There will be a massive Christian burial this Friday at 11 a.m. at the cathedral. However, that will not be open, obviously. Archbishop Schnurr, however, will be the celebrant. There will be a public memorial mass at a later date. I'm sure that will be communicated to everyone as soon as we know when that would be able to be. Pardon me. But you can watch the live stream this week, Friday at 11. And I'm sure that will be linked to the CatholicCincinnati.org webpage. I'm sure you'll be able to find it there, or the St. Peter in Chains Cathedral webpage. I'm not quite sure exactly what that webpage is, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it there. I've seen some emails from some of our Arise groups. Many of them are still meeting, albeit virtually, of course. And that is working out for some of them. Well, the ones who are trying it, let me put it this way. The ones who are trying it, it seems to be working out. Others made a decision, I think, to wait things out and perhaps meet again in person later on. Not everyone is as conversant with these technologies, and decided to just try to wait until later and meet once the crisis has passed. But the ones who are meeting online are doing quite well, and they're very happy with it, and it's bringing a lot of support to one another. We're also having, the parish will have our finance committee will be meeting tonight. We've got a lot of things to discuss, obviously. So if you just would say a little prayer for that. Let's see. Also, last Friday, Lori Skeldon was working on a collection for the Mercy Neighborhood Ministries. that we've helped before, I believe. And she noted that she received the largest donation of materials that she's ever gotten before. So I think it's a wonderful sign, not only of the generosity of this parish, but of people coming together and really not only rising to an occasion, but exceeding it. So that's just a wonderful thing. So you might add that to your little bit of good news that's so necessary in these days. I also wanted to, there we go. If you're watching now, I'm assuming it's Kayleen, who put the St. Peter in Chains Cathedral webpage below. So Saint is just ST, Peter in Chains Cathedral.org. You can find that down there, I'm sure. So thank you for that. I also talked to our DRE, Beth Himes, today, who's doing well. We talked a little bit about how we are going to continue with religious education. And especially to all of our parents, whether they're St. Michael's children or the REP children, certainly in this regard, parents, do your best. And I think, different things. Obviously, if you're a St. Michael's student, you're probably getting lessons as you are the rest of your school lessons in religion. So keep up with those, of course. REP, Mrs. Himes, I believe, has been in contact with parents, offering different resources there. She's worked on getting permissions from some of the publishers to do photocopying and sending of materials from textbooks that way. Some of it she's been able to get through, others, if I remember correctly, not quite. In that regard, parents, do your best. I think this is certainly an extraordinary situation. This is just part of it. I think if you take some time for prayer each day, talk a little bit about your faith. If you're listening to my reflections on the day's gospel, if you sit and read the gospel together and, talk a little bit about what I said, that would be a wonderful lesson for each day. I wouldn't be too upset with that at all. I'd be quite happy, actually. So keep doing your best on all of that. Confirmation, First Communion are certainly concerns that some people have. Our 8th grade and 2nd grade parents, of course. Right now, nothing has changed as far as dates. They're tentative at this point, quite honestly. Everything is kind of tentative after Easter. We just don't know. But if we get really lucky and things are easing up by then we'll go through with those celebrations on their proper dates. There's a good chance, of course, I would say, some might say likely, that we will have to move those dates. However, even if we have to move the dates, we will have the celebrations. We might just have to postpone them for a time, obviously, but we will have them. It may well look different than we've done before. There are different options, different ways we might handle this, but at this point, it feels very premature to me anyway, to try to say exactly how we will do that at this point, since we just don't know. One scenario would be that we're able to meet on the day. One scenario would be shortly thereafter. Another scenario, hopefully doesn't come to it, but, if it's quite a while before we can gather together again, we would have to look at another set of solutions. So I don't want to say, we're going to do this or we're going to do that until we know what we're dealing with. The world has enough issues without trying to, guess as to what might be happening. So we're just going to take a wait-and-see attitude and, hope and pray for all things good. Okay? So that's kind of parish news for the day. I've been calling some of our parish staff. They're doing well, the ones I've gotten a hold of. Still working to support the parish, of course, and whatever they can do, and supporting their families as well. So everyone is doing well. I hope that's the same for all of you at home. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at today's gospel. I think we've got a fairly full contingent of people. We usually get 25 to 30, and that's right about where we're at. What are the options for parishioners who may get in an end-of-life situation and wish to receive last rite? It's something I certainly hoped I would never run into in my priesthood, but at this point, a lot of places, most places, I simply can't get in. And so last rites probably would not happen in the same way that it normally would. Normally, communion, last communion, and anointing. Right now, we're deprived in large measure of those physical sacraments. But certainly, if I'm notified, I'm certainly going to pray for the person and ask God to be with them. And I think God, in particular, God is God of mercy, and God is a God of love, and certainly will accompany those folks at the end of their life and with their family as well. So that's where we are with that. I did want to mention, so Jim, you helped with that, on the idea of confession, regular confession. And I wanted to read something that I had gotten earlier today from the Archdiocese about confession in this time. See if I can find it here real quick for you. Maybe. And of course I can't find it real quick. Oh, maybe here I found it. Because there was something here that I wanted to read to people. I know some are concerned about not being able to go to confession. And they said it really nicely, and I wanted to simply repeat it. And I meant to have this ready before I got... here we go. Okay. So, this is regarding confession, and this, in any case, would certainly cover someone at the end of life as well, Jim. So let's see. Where the individual faithful find themselves in the painful impossibility of receiving sacramental absolution, it should be remembered that perfect contrition, coming from the love of God, beloved above all things, expressed by a sincere request for forgiveness, that which the penitent is at present able to express, and accompanied by the firm resolution to have recourse as soon as possible to sacramental confession, obtains forgiveness of sins, even mortal ones. And they include a reference to the Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 1452. And this is coming from the USCCB, United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. So let me unpack that a little bit. It should be remembered that perfect contrition. What does that mean, perfect contrition? 3 points. Perfect contrition requires 1, the love of God; 2, the sincere desire for forgiveness; and 3, the ardent commitment to receive the sacrament of reconciliation when it is available. So, love of God. If you desire to go to confession, but are not able to, there's some amount of love of God there, isn't there? The desire to want to go to confession comes from that love of God. So I think that's something for all of us to think about. How do I grow in my love of God? It's always a good thing to think about. Through prayer, reading of scriptures, gathering together like this, gathering together as Christian community. That's part of growing in the love of God, and that should be something we all seek to grow in every day, not only now. If we have a sincere desire for forgiveness, if we, truly want God's forgiveness, and then we simply need to make sure that once the situation eases and we're able to go to confession again, then we make sure that we go and go receive the sacrament. And you would simply go to confession as you have before. They also have a section here about the gift of indulgences granted to the faithful, especially those suffering from COVID-19, as well as to healthcare workers, family members, and all those in any capacity, including through prayer, who care for them. So let's see. This is a long, but anyway, the church is asking us, especially the sick, to join together and to join ourselves spiritually to the suffering of Christ, which is, at least I find it, it sounds nice. How does one do that is one of those things. I think that in any time of sickness, but in particularly now, the sufferings that we endure were shared by Christ. Human suffering was shared by Christ. And we are then invited to join our suffering to his. And St. Paul talks about this in one of his letters, and encouraging the people to join their sufferings to the suffering of Christ. Not for merely the sake of suffering, but to join our sufferings to his so that we might recognize the saving and redemptive nature of that suffering. Christ's suffering was not suffering merely for suffering's sake. It was to join our suffering to his suffering to that of the human race, and to redeem it. By his suffering and death on the cross, and his 3 days in the tomb, and his rising to new life, he's redeemed our suffering, and through it brings new life. Does that make sense? I hope. We're getting deep. We're getting really, really deep into theology here. But maybe this simple way, if I can try to say it simply, is to simply join our sufferings. If we're sitting on our sick bed, or if we're caring for someone sick, it's difficult, it's hard, it's uncomfortable. We might just in a simple prayer just to remember Jesus and to remember his sufferings, and to know that in God's love and God's mercy, he will bring redemption to us. He will bring grace and mercy and love to us. I hope that makes sense and brings a little bit of help to people. Okay. Today's gospel, interestingly, fits very well for the situation we find ourselves in. It's from the Gospel of John in the 4th chapter. And you can follow along if you have it. So, a reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. At that time, Jesus left Samaria for Galilee. For Jesus himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his native place. When he came into Galilee, the Galileans welcomed him, since they had seen all he had done in Jerusalem at the feast, for they themselves had gone to the feast. Then he returned to Cana in Galilee, where he had made the water wine. Now there was a royal official whose son was ill in Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, he went to him and asked him to come down and heal his son who was near death. Jesus said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The royal official said to him, "Sir, come down before my child dies." Jesus said to him, "You may go, your son will live." The man believed what Jesus said to him and left. While the man was on his way back, his slaves met him and told him that the boy would live. He asked them when he began to recover. They told him, "The fever left him yesterday, about 1 p.m. The father realized that just at that time, Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." And he and his whole household came to believe. Now this was the second sign Jesus did when he came to Galilee from Judea. The Gospel of the Lord. Amen. So just, we need to trust, to have faith, to, strive always to have faith that God can bring healing God can bring help and mercy towards us. Jody Mott noted that there's a wonderful reflection today in this Give Us This Day, which you can go and look on online. And I agree, Jody, it was absolutely perfect for today. Keep Walking is the title. And it talks about the story of a woman who walked 1,600 miles, something called the El Camino Real de las Californias, the old mission trail from that goes from Laredo, Mexico to Sonoma, California, and it traces a trail from all the missions that were created by the Spanish from Mexico up into present-day California. And this woman walked this whole journey after she had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, because she said, as long as I keep walking, I know I'm alive. And the miracle, of course, well, not of course, but the miracle is that she survives, and she was given 3 months to live, and she's still living 12 months, or 12 years, 12 years after her diagnosis. So that's, at the end, the author says, might that be what the Spirit is saying to us as church, the people of God? Even the Notre Dame Cathedral is under construction again. We all are. God is doing something new. Keep walking, church. It might just be that God is healing us too. And I think that, boy, does that not fit perfectly in what we're dealing with these days. We are able to go out and walk. You're allowed to go do that. I think it's a good thing. In several regards, walking is wonderful exercise. There's little impact, as opposed to running or other forms of exercise. You don't have to go particularly fast. Gets your heart rate up a little bit. Gets you breathing. I think it's mentally very helpful these days just to get out, walk, stretch a bit, especially when you're stuck at home, especially if you don't have a huge house, you don't have a lot of places to walk. Like I don't have a very big apartment, so I wouldn't get a lot of walking in here. So to go and walk outside, get you some exercise, and I think fresh air is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I think it can help our spirit as well. To be healthy in those ways is helpful for our spirit, our mental health, our spiritual health as well. And I think in these days, so much. Michelle notes that the Pope has asked for united prayer this Wednesday after the Angelus, and he's giving a special blessing Friday at 6 or 1 o'clock our time. So you can see Michelle's comment again down here. Let's see. Any other thoughts? People have any other questions? Good thoughts today. This is wonderful that we can gather this way. Thank goodness for technology. And just encouragement, all of you, if you're at home with your families much more than you're used to, be patient with yourself, be patient with them. Easier said than done. I know. But you just have to do your best and try to be forgiving of each other. Forgive one another as we ourselves wish to be forgiven. All right, I'm not getting any questions or anything. It's so great that you're all listening and watching. I really appreciate it. I hope it's helping. And you have something to look forward to each day, even if it's just me droning on for 20 minutes. Let's see, today is Monday, so tomorrow, Tuesday, I think we'll try again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Governor DeWine was on at 2:30 today, so I'm assuming his press conference is mostly over. I watched about the first 20 minutes of it, got the brief update, and then I know for my own sanity, I don't want to watch it for a whole hour and a half. That's too much information for all of me. Mike Cheney says we need a daily Cooper update. Cooper's my cat. He's sleeping. He tends to, he sleeps about this time of day, which is another reason why this time of day is good for me. I don't have to worry about him sitting right over here and meowing and begging for food in the middle of one of these. So he's sleeping. He's good. He's happy, fat and happy, like any cat would love to be. So, hi, Kathy Talbert. Yes, glad you found us. Be here most every day. So we'll try again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Go out and enjoy the sunshine. Sit on your deck or something. I think, maintain your proper 6 feet away from folks and all that type of thing. But get some fresh air. I think it'd be really good. All right. Thank you all. Take care. Do know that I'm praying for all of you. I did say Mass here again today. And we were given permission from the Archbishop to use a special, a different prayer than what is normally done today. There's a Mass formula for the sick, so I prayed that today for all of us. We just keep praying, and God will be with us, and God will see us through. I'm sure of that. Okay, we just need to have faith. Just need to have faith. All right, take care, everyone. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we'll see you soon, everybody. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.